Hello and welcome to the third and final session of the three-day Indian Media Leaders E-Summit, which is being organized by WAN-IFRA. In this session today, we are going to have Mr. Tor Jacobsen, who's Senior Vice President, Consumer and Subscriptions at Schibsted from Norway. And he's going to be speaking on managing subscription and overall revenue strategy for the future. Yeah, that's the topic, the closing keynote, managing digital subscription and overall revenue strategy for the future. So we've had a host of discussions, but finally, the bottom line is to look at shoring up subscriptions and revenues. So over to you, Tor, for your presentation. And what I would request everyone to do is to send in your questions in the Q&A tab, and we will put them across to Tor later. Over to you.
Thank you very much for that introduction, and very nice to be here and talk a little bit on how we work with subscription and our strategy going forward. I'll just try to share my presentation with you now. Yes, it's working fine right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So as you said, I'm heading the subscriptions in Schibsted, so the consumer revenue and subscription. So and I will talk first very briefly about Schibsted, what is Schibsted and what are we doing, and then tune very much into subscriptions and the consumer revenue and our strategy going forward, and be pretty open on all the plans we have on that side. First, just one slide about Schibsted, because Schibsted is a company listed at the Norwegian Stock Exchange. We have especially a Nordic focus, so focus on the 4 Nordic countries in Europe, but still we are also in some other European countries. And we have kind of 3 different pillars. We have Nordic marketplaces, so that's kind of everywhere where you can buy or sell everything from your car to your house to everything you need to buy or sell. And then we have news media, which is where we come from and still is the biggest business area in terms of both revenue and people. And then we have more like a venture investments theme, where we invest in different themes like especially financial services, but also a lot of other companies. And then also Schibsted owns 33% of Adevinta, which is our that used to be in Schibsted. There we have marketplaces, everything from Brazil to a lot of the European countries. And then also it was a merger with eBay on that part. So now we own 33% of that. So what is left in Schibsted, it's the Nordic part, the Nordic companies, the European Nordic countries. So that is Schibsted at a glance. And then we have some cross-divisional synergies between this business area. I work in news media, but also have a responsibility for subscriptions on cross, because also for a lot of our venture and new companies, we also have subscription-based models. So if you look at consumer business, well, we have a lot of, it's a business unit working across Schibsted with subscriptions. We have more than 20 brands. We had 1.5 million subscribers. And where 1.1 of them is purely digital. Looking at the revenue, if you have in euros, which is almost the same as US dollars, then we have, last year we had 130 million US dollars, and including print, we have 290 million US dollars. And actually this year, it's the first year where the digital revenue will surpass the print revenue. So this year will be about 1.5, 1.6 digital, and it's a little bit lower on print. So then actually we will have more like 50% plus on digital for the first time. So if you look at a short history of the digital subscription revenue, it's gone very fast. This is in Norwegian krone, so if you divide it by 10, you have US dollars or euros. And we had 348 million NOK in 2016, and last year it was 1.3 We and a lot of other players have seen a tremendous growth in this area. So it's going from very like small thing, digital subscribers, to being both the biggest growing and very important for our total economy, but also very important strategically for us, as I will come back to, because you can build so much on the top of the subscription base, which we have seen a lot of other players has done as well, like New York Times. So to have a big subscription base, we think it will be strategically important in so many ways going forward. And of course, when we have high growth rates, the board and CEO, of course, want us to grow also going forward. So what we said to the market later or earlier this year was that we should double from the level we had last year to 2025. So we still have very, very high ambitions with doubling of a pretty high revenue in Nordic perspectives to 2025. So double in 4 years. And that will be done in a lot of different ways, which I actually will be talking about more for the rest of the presentation. And if you're looking at, before I go into our strategy, so we look at the digital subscription market as a more, where media is a part of that kind of subscription economy and the subscription boom. And you have so many examples. Here we have, for instance, Tesla, which of course is a car, but it's also more and more a subscription service, where if you have the self-driving features, etc., you need to have subscriptions for that. Spotify, of course, the New York Times, you all know, but also like Twitter. When Elon Musk should buy Twitter, he launched a new business plan where subscription revenue, which they don't have today, I think, will be 50% of the revenue some years from now, and will be the most important growing business for Twitter. But also Apple. I mean, of course, Apple is a hardware company, but it's also a subscription company and more and more. They have Apple TV, they have Apple Music, they have iCloud, they have Apple One, which is their super bundle, and they have a lot of different things that they sell as services and subscription services. And Amazon could also be an example. This list just going on. So I mean, this is a mega trend we think is important for us, but it's also more like a underlying mega trend in very many industries, and especially it goes hand in hand when you really disrupt the digital market, we think. So what will we do to make to be able to double the revenue, etc., the next 4 years? And very overall and very like top level, it's kind of 3 paths that we see to growth. That is through growth, still current for our current main products. So our core products like VG, Aftenposten, Aftenblad, etc., still grow them more and more. But what we see, and until I would say last year, almost all growth came from the dark blue one. So our main products, selling it better, pricing it better, having smarter campaigns, looking more content, being better at conversions, being better at the lowering the churn, etc., 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 working closer with editorial, consumer business, and data and tech, etc. But what we see now in the next phase, that will not be enough to be able to double the revenue. So we have kind of 2 new layers. One thing is that we need to add with new products, so the portfolio needs to be bigger. So we have built or extended some product, like going to a sports products, having different layers, but also bought some products. I will show you the biggest product that we bought later. And then the third layer is product combinations. So we look at bundles, cross sales, etc. So earning more money on every subscribers we have, a lot more than we have today. So make them buying more products than today or paying more. So I'll come into all these 3 areas, starting with the first one. So if you look at the main product and starting here, I think the biggest kind of revolution we see it in terms of subscription sales is that until 2-3 years ago, I mean, almost all the subscription sales was coming from, I mean, text, pictures as the usual way of reading an article or article sales. what is happening now is that two new areas is growing very, very much. One thing is audio with podcast and audio. I will come back to that later in the presentation. And the other part is video. So for instance, for the two biggest brands we have in terms of traffic, 35%, so 35% of the sales last year was from video content. And that is totally different from it used to be. And this is everything from sports rights, which is very expensive. We are in like the top, we are in some national things, some training matches for instance, European football and other kind of things, and also boxing events, etc. But much football and some tennis. So yeah, you have different content, but also more and more some local content on local clubs are playing, but also documentary or pure entertainment is selling very, very much. So entertainment, because we see that you have a totally new target group with younger people. A lot of them, they are much more illoyal, so they churn more. So we need to work with that. We have kind of a plan to make them stay longer, both to have more of the content, so it's not like it's coming and then it's out again. It's coming and coming all the way. And the other thing is to bundle it with relevant products, so you have more products into your package with entertainment. I will show you a little bit more of that. So this is kind of, I would say, if you're starting with the content side, I think that video is so much more important than before. Is important for us, and we really, this is like really happening in the last 1-2 years. We have seen that video is more and more important for the total level and then for advertising and for the user, but not in subscription sales. And now we are more and more content that is perfect for subscription sales. And other thing is pricing. We have been a little bit conservative on pricing the last couple of 2-3 years. But now we see that with the high price increases in the society as a whole, and we have tried to increase the prices a little bit more. On print, we have done it, but also for some years. But also in digital, we try to be a little bit more aggressive now to increase the prices digitally, because we see that the market is going up. People have high willingness to pay, and sometimes higher than we think. And also a lot of the places where we do some changes, we don't see a very big difference in the conversion. And also what we must look at, because we cannot have a situation where we just have super high prices for the people that are have the possibility, have a situation where they can pay so much, and we don't just have that kind of population. So we're also looking at lower price level products, for instance, that you cannot just access some articles a day, etc. So that you have both, so we have both end of a spectrum. As of today, we are more eager to increase the price than looking at lower price levels, but we also are looking into that for the autumn and next year to have kind of also low price product or two. So that was price. If you look at another thing I would like to mention is the kind of a personalization. So also on the product side, we're looking at personalization, and I will not brag here that we are very good on personalization. I think we have a lot of things to do still early days. But what we see is then when we personalize our front, and especially the plus articles, then we improve sales, but we also improve reading. So the engagement is very much better. And really trying to have this next best action concept, where this person here, what should we serve that person? Should he or she be a subscriber, or should we have also trying to test a little bit different kind of paid share of paid, and what kind of article I should have depending on my interest and what I have read before, etc. So here we have worked with this a couple of years now, and we're getting better and better, but I think still we have a long way to go here. But this is important, and we see it has a very good effect. And also a couple of other examples. This is more like 2 examples on communication with our customers. So when you have subscribed and you have converted, you'll be by subscription. We have tried different things. This is one test we had with Aftenposten. So You can choose an onboarding body. So if you will have the editor-in-chief, Trine, or if you will have some other editors or newsroom, famous newsroom from the newsroom, and they will then take care of you going forward and the next kind of, I think it's 50 days. And then they will give you tips and tricks. Of course, they're not, they are writing it, but we have defined a lot of things in front, and then we are pushing them different articles from that person. And what we see, then we feel it's a little bit more personalized, and we see both that the renewal rate is higher on this concept, and also the engagement is a little bit higher. So this is kind of an example of personalization, but more on a communication part, not on the site. And also one thing we see is super important for retention and anti-churning is get people to share their subscription. So most of our subscriptions, they can share with 4 people, one person, I'm sorry. So if we can make a person share that subscription as early as possible, sorry, in the conversion flow, the better it is. So now also we have tested to make them share when they are buying the subscription or very early after they bought the subscription, because we see that the churn is much lower when they share, and that's very logical. I mean, then it's a little bit harder to go out of the subscription when you are in it, because then also it's not just your thing, it's also another person's thing. So we see that's a very important thing. So that was kind of some points regarding the first point on growing through our main products, what we're doing both content-wise, price-wise, more like campaigning and communication. I could also say that working with a share of paid content, of course, is super important, but there I think we're starting to find a good level there, and then we have very different levels from different brands. I mean, some of the brands, they have like 15% paid content. For instance, very big national brands. Other have 70% paid content, more local, the more local you are. So we have different models there on how much paid content you have and try to optimize it. So looking at the other kind of layer is that's kind of product combination, and that's very new for us. We have tested some bundles and upsells, but now things are starting. So what we have tested now in both Norway and Sweden. I think I forgot to say that, but we in news media we have brands in Norway, in Sweden, and Finland, so 3 different markets we are in. And we have done it, but in Finland we also just have 1 brand, so this will be in Norway and Sweden. But in Norway we have done a lot of tests, and also in Sweden, and we see that people really like the idea of having a bundle with many of our brands, because we have very strong brands, and a lot of them are reading different brands. So the idea of could have 1 subscription where you have all the brands is very, very popular. And also we have tested on site with different price levels, different communication type, and we see that also that what we see is that will give us higher ARPU, of course, because this price will be the highest we have had so far, but also lower churn. We have tested also with we sold 1,500 subscribers in February, March, just to have a test space to work with, and we see the churn they have is very much lower and the engagement is higher. So even though we have some people that have 2 subscriptions today, we will see that overall we will earn a lot of money on doing this. So now in August we will roll out this in the market for a good price, and then and that will be super interesting. We think it will be a big success. I have high ambitions for that product, and then you will have 1 package, all access, with all the brands, the media brands in Norway, for Norway. So then you can just go between the brands and everything is open for you. Yeah, that will be super exciting for us, and I look forward to that rollout. Now we have been testing it. We have talked to people. We have had a lot of tests on site on price levels, size strategy, etc. So now it's rollout time. So this will be very important for our growth now. So we have some small things to do. I mean, we need to do a lot of internal things. How could we, because we have still different brands and different teams, how can we work with this together? How should we be able to share the revenue, the extra revenue? How can we make a good sales strategy, etc.? But these things are, and of course, it's a little bit technical implementation as well for this kind of product. But we're starting to be ready with most of that. So we're ready for launch, and we hope for at least 10,000 subscribers in 4 months, and I hope for actually a lot more. So let's see how that turns out. What we also are looking into is a more like a reward program, because we have some reward mechanism and product now on a different brand level, but now we're looking at that on the Schibsted level. So maybe it's like, first you are an unknown user, then you have some reward if you're getting logged in. And then if you have a customer one product, then you have more rewards. For instance, it could be a home delivery or other thing. And then if you are a loyal customer been with us for some months, then it's you having more things for free, or you can add on things to your subscription. And if you are like a premium subscribers, for instance, don't have an all access product, then you should have a lot of goodies from us. We have been testing that a lot now, different kind of rewards for the customers, and we see that they like it, and we see that this is good for anti-churn work and engagement. And we see that especially younger people, they like home delivery services. We also have home delivery services. But older people tends to like to have more media products. So it's a little bit different on what with the need and need this. Should it be something very close to what you buy or something totally different? But here now we are staffing up a team here that will work with this reward program and starting to soft launch it. Some smaller reward, because right now I think still we are very good at selling and we are good at growing, but to really keep the customer and be better at our loyal customer, I think we can still be a lot better on. And that is also a good point, because I said that on a full all access we will launch. The all access is, we see also there that the people buying all access so far, they have a lot higher loyalty. So then we expect to have a much higher CLV because of the ARPU is higher and the loyalty is higher. And of course, if you look at, the all access product we are now launching, we also launching some bundles with 2 products. But I think this is more like a short-term solution, because looking at the long term, I think we need to be a lot much more flexible and agile, because right now we are coming from a world where we are very like inside out. So we are selling subscription, like VG is selling their subscription to their customer, Aftonbladet is selling the customer subscription, etc. But if you look at the total subscription base today, it's 1.5 million. Maybe in 2 years it's 2 million subscribers. And you can see that's more like that you can look at that as a platform where we can sell everything the customer is interested in. So it should be a little bit more other way around. So it's the customer's data, so the interest, the behavioral data, the willingness to pay, the history, etc. That should do what we are selling to he or she, and that will also could be a different price, a different person with a different bundle and combination. And then we need a big portfolio of interesting brands. Could be subscription based, but it could also be other things. We need reward mechanism I talked a little bit on, and probably also we need to have partners to have a really good and complete offering to the subscribers. And then it will be more from today, where everyone is selling their thing, to that the focus is on the Schibsted and maximizing the customer lifetime value on each customer based on data. That's kind of where we want to be in the end of 2023. I don't know if you are fully there in end of 2023, but that's kind of our long-term ambition, that we can make that happen. So that was part 2, and then I have one part again. Maybe I'm using a little bit more time. I will try to be fast here, if some minutes, and then try to be see you talk too much, so I hope that's okay. I will be able to speed up a little bit if that's okay.
No worries. We have time.
Okay, good. Thank you. So here we have looked at many products. We have done some product extensions, etc. But I would just like to add one product, which is the most important one in terms of revenue and also growth and strategic also, and that's Podme. Because what we saw a couple of years ago, 1-2 years ago, is that a lot of things were happening in the podcast market. It was changing. Some super big exclusive deals, a production unit was bought. And also we saw that some of the big players were looking at subscriptions instead of both only advertising based. And then we saw that, yeah, but and we didn't earn anything, very, very low revenue from podcasts because it was open and subscription based, and it's not a good subscription market for podcasts in Norway and Sweden. But we have great content position and we are local and we have very strong subscription position. So actually we had this perfect possibility, we thought. And the local part is important because most, I think 80-90% of the content on Spotify is from your own language. So most people in Norway likes to listen on Norwegian podcasts, most people in Swedish. And I know also for the UK, for instance, most people in the UK listen to UK podcasts. It's, I think 8 or 10 of the top 10 is UK based and the other one is US based. So it's not like it's a super global market. It's more local. So that's good news for us. So we build a strategy which is based on 3 very simple components. Content is super important. We need to really get all the best content here. And we should have a premium subscription product in a separate app. So we couldn't be just a part of the media houses app today, because then we couldn't take a number 1 position, we think. But then either we should have, in addition, we should have create bundles with the existing brands. So that will now come in the full all access I just talked about. So what we did is that we had a very good way start because we have so much good content from our media houses, and we have some very much top 10 and top 20 content in Norway and Sweden with our media houses podcasts. And then we started to make some big recruitments, buying famous podcasters to be our people and have long-term contracts on them. So that was a big bet we did, and a big bet that the subscription market will go more into subscription and locked. So that going fast forward to now, we have seen that a tremendous growth in Podme. And we also bought Podme. Podme is it was a company. It's a Swedish company that we were a venture investment in. Now we have 90% plus of the shares. And then so we use that platform and that products, and everything is now through Podme and of course and the media houses. So what we have seen is after we took control in Podme and really started to go all in the podcast market, we have gone from last year in this period on 75,000, now we have 185,000 subscribers. And so that's going very fast. It's the by far fastest growing product we have, and that's in Podme. And we also see tremendous growth potential going forward. It's a very high willingness to pay for podcasts we see. And so now we are in Norway, we are in Sweden and Finland with Podme. And Podme have just existed in a couple of years, but still already now it's our 3rd biggest digital subscription products. And that's pretty sick actually. And if it go how we think, it will be the number 1 subscription product in Schibsted in 1 year digitally. So and that's a lot of the other brands we have, they can be like 100 years old or 150. This is a totally new brand and product. So I would just like to see, and I say that here because this is a very important driver for us in terms of revenue. Yes, so then I think I can stop there. So this is kind of what I'm going through. We have a 3-part strategy where I've talked about how we grow through our main products today, also on product combinations and the bundle part, how we work there. And the last one is adding new products, and then especially podcast Podme, which we see has been very, very important for us. And we think will be a good growth potential also going forward. So that was all from me for now. And I don't know if it's any questions or comments or anything.
Quite a few questions, Tor.
Okay.
People would love to know more. So let me go one by one. How do you see the opportunity for short form video formats?
Yeah. It depends on how you define short form. I mean, most of the video formats we have are pretty short. So, for instance, the biggest hit we have had is an entertainment concept called Not Allowed to Laugh on a Cabin, which is a very Norwegian concept, but it's comedians on a cabin, and then there are one-on-one less for every episode. That was actually just a 8 minutes episode, and it's for free, but to access the next episode, then you need to pay. So a lot of the video, when you have been good at video, it's kind of episodes, which is everything from 8 to 50 minutes long, or sports. So that's kind of those biggest things. So we see that for TV you need the longer things, or linear TV, but video especially, and when we try to hit young people, shorter formats like below 10 minutes is where we see the biggest success.
And formats like TikTok, etc., which are perhaps less than a minute.
Yeah, so we are on TikTok for some of the brands, but that's more about being. So we are on TikTok and Snapchat with some of the media houses to be there and to be where the where young people are. But so we have looked into it, but we struggle a little bit more to find a very good business model around it, that kind of short formats. But some, as I said, some of the brands are on TikTok and Snapchat today, more to be there the young is. And
what's your team size? You know, in the entire group, and vis-a-vis print, digital. What is the team size like across the company?
Yeah, so in Schibsted totally.
That's right.
Yeah. I think Schibsted is actually, I think it's the Schibsted total is more like 5,000 people, I think, but I'm maybe not totally correct there. But again, there we have different business areas. So news media alone, I think it's approximately 2,500 people in news media, and that's its editorial, it's the consumer business, it's advertising, etc., and it's technology, and the newsrooms are mainly so they are not split into digital and print, etc., and we are not either more. Most people are working on both print and digitally, or purely digital focus. We have been very kind of aggressive through towards digital, also because the market in Norway are very digital, but still print is very much money. For advertising, it's not that much anymore, but on the subscription side, as I said, it's more like 50-50 now. There we're doing a lot of the push on price, of course, and other things kind of connected to product development, etc. But I would say that 80-90% of the focus in Schibsted is on digital development.
If there is any breaking news that is there, which medium gets it first? Does digital get it first, or does print get first? Because print is, you know, the more respected medium and read by people across the country, the powers that be. Where does the breaking news go first?
Now the breaking news is almost always on digital first, because it's breaking. And also if it's a big case that's been working up a little bit, then it's sometimes it's breaking in the evening. Digitally, so you can warm up on the theme, and then it will be on the printed newspaper the day after.
Yeah. Actually, what I meant to ask was if there's a scoop by a journalist, right, which is your story. It's not public domain news. Then would it be scheduled for the morning after, which is in the print paper, or will it be just broken on digital as it comes?
Yeah, then it's planned well, and then the usually sometimes it's going in the same The PDF version of the print paper, it comes out digitally the 9 and 10 the day before. So then all people can access what will be in the print newspaper the day after. So very usually when we really push out the big story, it is in the evening often, and then push it out digitally all over, and then you can read all in the newspaper the day after.
So let me get it right. The paper that is published in the morning, the print paper, is actually sent out as a PDF the previous evening at around 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
The entire paper, the way it is in print.
Yes. But most people are accessing digitally through the web page, but some is reading it the e-paper as well. Yes.
And are people upset about the fact that has print got impacted because of this?
I mean, you can only access the PDF version of the print paper if you have a premium subscription. If you don't have that, you cannot access it.
So if you have a print subscription, you can access the e-paper.
Yes, that's correct.
Because in India, most print and e-papers are in different, almost like silos. They don't interact much with each other. Even the subscriptions are different, most of them. There's a question here, which is, how do you manage churn in your subscription? In India, the churn rate is very high. An estimated 7 subscribers are lost for every 10 new ones.
Yeah, that's a very good question and very difficult, because we have the same problem. As I said, we are very good at selling, not that good at getting people to stay. And our churn rate, it's between like 8 to 10% a month. So we're losing approximately 8% of the subscription base every month. So we need to fill in the new one. I think that's pretty average, especially on the European level, maybe a little bit better. But the most important thing we see to churn is engagement, to maximize the engagement through the site, like personalization or communication. We also see that sharing the subscription, as I said, is super important. And the third thing we see is that if you have more than one brand, so if you can make person have 2 subscription or more, or buy this bundle, that will also decrease the churn. So these 3-4 elements is maybe the biggest factor that we can influence to get the churn down.
Right. Tell us about the profitability and the revenue levels that exist for print versus digital. Is Schibsted making more money from digital or making more money from print?
Yeah, so we had the target, News Media in total had a target in we set 2-3 years ago. That was that we should be digitally sustainable in all major brands in 2021. So that means making zero revenue, zero bottom line or more in 21. So all our brands is profitable with digital only. So if print would end tomorrow, it would be a positive contribution. But still, print is more. So if print News Media have 10 to 12% margin. That's what we set to the market, and we should be in line with that. Print still has a little bit more, and digital has a little bit less, but it's starting to get closer and closer and closer, actually. And some of the brands have very good profitability digitally.
Right, thank you. We have another question that has come in, is integrating technology like AI into content is a way forward, as shown by New York Times with a bigger newsroom. How's Schibsted leading that way in the Nordic region?
Yeah, so we have done what we are doing. We have some, for instance, so the personalization I showed you that VG is there. We have used a little bit on that kind of technology. It's also AI in a tool I didn't show here, but from a Swedish brand called Svenska Dagbladet, which we call the Oracle, which is it's a data model that suggests for the newsroom which article should be paid for. So that come with suggestion that this article, which is now free, should be paid because you have different parameters and criteria making that choice. This will not take over the choice of the newsroom, but it will send a message to the newsroom that this should be locked and this should be open to try to try. So there we use it a little bit actually.
Right. We have a question from Mr. Aravinda Navara, who is from a small paper in Manipal. His question is, what is the future of e-paper concept, given the fact that there are so many news aggregators in the age of news aggregators?
Yes, so our type kind of e-papers.
Right. What is the future for e-papers? What is the future for e-papers?
Well, it's a good question, because I think that we have, especially in the Nordic area, we have said that the e-paper that will die. That's no future for e-paper. We have said that in many years, but we see that we have a pretty loyal audience that are reading it, and it's pretty stable. So it's important for a lot of the subscribers, and we see for the subscription products we have, approximately 15 to 20% of the subscribers are reading the e-paper on a weekly and more basis. We see a lot more traffic on the web page, but still we think it's important to have included in the subscription. But especially in Norway, Sweden, it's a smaller part of the subscribers that are reading it, but we are not working very much to develop the e-paper. For instance, we have all focus on the web page and the apps, etc., to develop them.
One more question: does Schibsted use its own data and metric system, or do you use Google Analytics or one of the systems available in the market? And what's your recommendation? What's your recommendation for this?
Oh, then you should ask the data tech guys. But we are not using our own system. We are not using Google Analytics. But we are using Pulse. So it's a system called Pulse we are using, and then we have different. I can check it up if you want to come back to that. But Pulse is kind of the main data system we have.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Tor, for this wonderful session. As I was mentioning to you earlier, in India, we keep looking at newspaper groups such as yourself and the amazing work that is being done out there. And for this session that is part of the Summit for Indian Media Leaders, we thought it was appropriate that we talk about the way things are going in the subscription revenue front in your part of the world. Thank you very much for being here. And I'm going to hand it over to Makhdoom for his closing remarks for this summit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tor, and thank you, Pradyuman. It was a fantastic session today, and I think we ended on a nice note, looking at the future and what best can you hear now, if not from Schibsted. I think the world's most innovative and very forward-looking company. So thank you for this fantastic note, and we all enjoyed it very much. I'm sure that our delegates, participants also enjoyed it. And the last 3 days has been, fantastic 3 afternoons. Quick ones and a lot of nuggets of wisdom coming from all our speakers. Now we started with a session from JP Politiken, who's the CEO, the Stick Osco, speaking about recipe for success, and then we had the CEOs from India who shared their plans and how they are responding to the challenges. And then yesterday we saw a lot about the newsroom challenges and how editors are managing it. And today, what a way to finish this 3-day event. I think one thing that came out of all these programs is that all these presentations is that the content is very important. When news media companies have to pivot to business of content rather than resting into any particular format, and content and trust, they become the most sought after ingredient for success going forward. So I'd like to thank all our speakers for their insights and sharing their experience with us. And I'd like to thank all the delegates for joining us on all the 3 days. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, and then as much as we did curating this program. And I'd like to thank our sponsors, without whose support this program would not have been possible. Our platinum sponsors, Google News Initiative, our silver sponsor, Piano, and our bronze sponsor, Chartbeat, and the supporting publications, our own magazine, ANF, an Indian printer and publisher, G Express, and Rin Survey. Thank them all for the support. And I'd like to thank my fantastic colleagues who are at the back end, doing all the work, Suresh, Vijayalakshmi, and Neha, and also my colleague from our Frankfurt office who have been helping with this program and also covering the sessions live. Thank them all for their support. And we'll put up the link for the feedback. Please give us your feedback. It will help us to improve the program for the next time. And I look forward to see your responses. We'll really appreciate taking your couple of minutes. It should not be taking more than 3 to 5 minutes. And then, hope you will do that. More the responses, like it help us to plan our programs in the future. And I hope I will all see you next time in another physical in-person event, hopefully soon. So and I wish you all a good evening and see you again soon. Thank you very much.